Hello, BookTube. I am suddenly swamped with deadlines, so I'm not going to be able to hang out with you just endlessly today. I have a small mail haul here that I thought would tide us over. If I can make another video, if I get ahead, then I will. Otherwise, it'll just have to wait till tomorrow. but in the meantime, we can certainly look at a few books here. Let's see what the first one is. Do you want this, baby? You do. Oh. Okay, this is another early November release. We saw this already. Oh, the finished copy is lovely. Goodness gracious. This is by Tony Spofforth, and it is the story of Greece and Rome, with raised gilded letters on the cover. Very nice. Very nice. I was originally skeptical about this because it's so short. It's only 200-something pages long, and yet it covers the story of ancient Greece and the story of ancient Rome. But I haven't investigated it. I've had the thing, the advanced copy, and I haven't read it, as is true with almost all November books, with a handful of exceptions. So this will go on the pile for this week. I'm doing a huge amount of November reading this week to get up to speed. So let's see what this next one is. Holy, what have we got here? Okay, this is a novel. This is a novel that's due in April. Good Lord, that may be my latest book. This is by Patrick McGinnis, and it is called Throw Me to the Wolves. Huh. April. He was longlisted for the Man Booker, and this book is a soul-shaking story of voyeurism, betrayal, and the gray areas between truth and fiction in the era of tabloid media and fake news. In the aftermath of Brexit, the body of a young woman is found by the River Thames. The tabloids are instantly aflame, pointing fingers at Mr. Wolfram, a former teacher and the perfect target for media monstering. Never seen monstering as a verb before. I kind of like it. I think I know exactly what it means, and I kind of like it. Mysterious, introverted, intellectual, and eccentric. Charged with investigating this murder is a detective who was once one of Wolfram's students. As the case unfolds, he must face a story from decades ago that he has tried hard to forget. He recalls his friend and schoolmate Danny, who disappeared from their elite English boarding school, a place of routine physical and psychological abuse, at the peak of the IRA terror. In the midst of the present murder investigation, the detective confronts his own suppressed memory, which proves the ultimate source of both mystery and revelation. Okay. Alright. So, who is Patrick McGinnis when he's at home? He was born in Tunisia in 1968. That's 1968, for those of you not being able to hear me over the mindless thrashing of destruction going on in the background. And he lived in Bucharest in the years leading up to the Romanian Revolution. He's a professor of French and comparative literature at Oxford University. His first novel, The Last 100 Days, was longlisted for the Man Booker. And he also wrote a poetry collection called Jilted City. The Last 100 Days is nagging at me now. I'm trying to remember it. But okay, so this is a new novel, a Brexit novel, a fake news, a tabloid, a monstering novel, a social media mobbing novel, and it comes out in April. Okay, so I don't have to think about it for a while, but it sounds fascinating. All right, let's move on. Are you ready for more? What is this next one? This one's cardboard. Are you up for cardboard? Of course you are. Okay. All right, this is a paperback? Yes? This is a paperback release? No, this is a hardcover. This is a hardcover that comes out in March, so again, I don't have to worry about it. It's called Cheer Up, Mr. Widdicombe, a novel by Evan James. And is this a debut? this might be a debut. Okay. Has a blurb from Andrew Sean Greer, the author of Less. Let's see here. Well, okay. I don't want to bore you to pieces here, but I think I'm missing something. I think I'm missing a piece of the publicity material here. The pub sheet that I have seems to start in mid-sentence. So let's do as much as we can here. It looks like it's a novel in the spring. The inimitable, and some might say incorrigible, Frank Whitcomb is suffering from a deep depression, or so his wife Carol believes. But Carol is convinced that their new island home, Widderbrook Manor on Puget Sound, is just the thing to cheer up her husband. And so begins a whirlwind summer as their house becomes the epicenter of multiple social dramas involving friends, family, and a host of new acquaintances. The Whitcomb's son, Christopher, is mourning a heartbreak after a year abroad in Italy. Their personal assistant, Michelle, begins a romance with preppy screenwriter Bradford, who also happens to be Frank's tennis partner. Meanwhile, a local named Marvelous Matthews is hired to create a garden at the manor and is elated to find Grace Sloane, bewitching self-help author, in residence as well. When this alternately bumbling and clever cast of characters comes together, Willowbrook transforms into a circus of uncovered secrets, preposterous misunderstandings, and irrepressible passions. Okay, so it says that this is perfect for fans of Maria Semple's Where'd You Go, Bernadette, as well as Andrew Sean Greer's Less. So I'm assuming from those associations and from the blurb by Andrew Sean Greer that the Whitcomb's son Christopher, mourning a heartbreak after a year abroad in Italy, that his heart was broken by a man. Could be wrong, but we shall see. That tends to be the way associated blurbing goes. But I won't see for a while, because the winter will be all but over when this book shows up, and the winter has only barely begun. So we'll do this last one here, and this will have to do until I make a little headway. I'm just professional enough to feel like it's maybe a bad idea to be nattering away on camera when I've got actual work to do. So I may make this just it for today, and then I'll overdo it tomorrow. What's that? You got it. All right, so this is also a finished copy. Oh, okay. I think we saw this already. This is a finished copy. This will be out in November. Yes. This is The Comforts of Home by Susan Hill. The latest in her Chief Superintendent Simon Serralier mystery. Not sure if Serralier is pronounced that way. This is the 9th installment in that series. And it sees the seasoned detective in his most vulnerable state and at his most cunning. Detective Serralier, or Serralier, it could go any kind of way because it's not Irish. Detective O'Connor, you cannot do wrong. He is still recuperating from the near-fatal accident of his last case, which left him with a prosthetic arm, when he visits the remote Scottish island of Torrance, where he meets a charismatic and hale woman, Sandy, who despite being a newcomer in a small, inward-looking community, seems widely popular and at home in the wild island's forbidding elements. To his shock, this powerful woman is found dead in mysterious circumstances, and the overstretched local police pull him into the murder inquiry. I think we did see this before, and now it's finally here. And I remember being intrigued. Because those are two usual gimmicks in ongoing murder mysteries. The one gimmick is the overburdened local police department that pulls in a fish-out-of-water expert from somewhere far away, and the other, the damaged and wounded protagonist, who's as much putting his own pieces together as he is the murder mysteries pieces. And this, I remember being struck that this combines those two, so it probably doesn't have a dull moment. And it comes out this month. It comes out not this month, but November, so it goes on the November pile. The November shelf, I finally bit the bullet last night and just cleared off the October shelf, the top shelf of my bookcase for work books, for actual new releases. I just cleared it off, just brutally. Not even thinking whether or not I'm going to revisit any of those books. I will, I'm sure. But I cleared it off just to do the move, to move the November books up. And no sooner did I do that than I had to double the number of books because of all these November finished copies we're getting. So that shelf will be in serious flux for quite some time. But anyway, that is our mail for today. That might be all you see of this face today. We shall see. A whole bunch of things I want to talk about, but a couple of these deadlines are serious, and a couple of them came out of nowhere. So they really do require that I just buckle down and not be either making videos or nervously shepherding them into upload one way or another. I imagine how much worse it would be for me if I actually had editing software. God help us, I've heard stories from all of you about how many hours it takes. Oh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't spare the time. So anyway, that is our little mail haul for today. We have the Comforts of Home by Susan Hill. We have the Story of Greece and Rome by Tony Spofforth in a lovely finished copy. And then we have two novels that are coming out next year. The first is Cheer Up, Mr. Whitcomb by Evan James. And the next is Throw Me to the Wolves by Patrick McGinnis. So no idea, I still haven't quite read the tea leaves of what 2019 will be like in terms of books, just in general. I'm noticing a couple of trends, and I'm anticipating a couple more. The one main trend that I'm noticing, I mentioned it here a few times, is that it's looking like 2019 is shaping up to be a very good year for historical fiction. And the other trend that I am assuming, I haven't seen any actual evidence of it yet, but I am assuming that 2019 will represent an absolute tsunami of American politics books. Donald Trump, the Donald Trump administration, everything. A tsunami of such books. I would estimate in the mainstream, the mainstream big 5 or 6 publishers, I would estimate well over 150 such books. And a couple of them, if rumors I've heard are correct, a couple of them are immense. So I don't know. I don't know if that will happen or not. It seems likely that it would. But one way or another, I don't know what the year is going to be like for fiction. I'm currently hunkered down with assessing 2018 now that it is rapidly coming to a close. We all know, in America anyway, what the end of the year feels like. It feels like a downhill slalom. The minute you hit Halloween, it feels like a minute until you hit Thanksgiving. And then once you hit Thanksgiving, you've barely turned around. You've barely cleared the table. Then it's Christmas and New Year's, the double blast of Christmas and New Year's, and then the year is over. So, so I'm now buckling down with 2018 in preparation for writing it up to summarize and assess the year. So I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to 2019, but one way or another. Anyway, see, if I start nattering, just because I love your company, if I start nattering, then this video will last forever, and there'll be plenty more. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will. I don't know. I might not see you today, but I will see you many times tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.